Now, I must say I really thrive on questions. And it would be great if I could take some of the expectations on some of the things you'd like me to cover, because I don't want to go really deep on something so shallow, or rather go very shallow on something that we could go deep on. So I am happy to get the different perspectives from you all, and then see how to frame our conversation. Since you are from all over the continent, there is a lot of context. I've been privileged to travel a few of the countries, and also do business in a few of the countries. About 2 years ago, we started a business in West Africa, and that has been a massive learning curve, getting to embrace the people of Ghana who were so alike and yet so different. So I want to take this time here and throw the mic back at you and say, what did you come to see? Like John asked the Pharisees, what did you come to the wilderness to see? And then, or maybe what questions do you have to ask as a creative? What are some of the things that you'd like to know, and how you can get this whole branding thing into perspective? I would really, really appreciate some questions, because they would help me get into what the crux of or scratch your itch, if you will. So Elizabeth, if you'll allow me, I'm just going to mute for a minute. You can put up your hand or just go straight and shoot from the hip. 3, 4, 5 questions would really shape this conversation, as opposed to me going off like rambling like a drunk. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Kamara. So Kamara is asking, what do you want to see, or what challenges are you facing at the moment? So he can speak directly to that, because I know that we crafted these topics together in our WhatsApp group. So in regards to branding and marketing, what do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Anybody? Elaine, your microphone is open. Please share. The first question is from Beatrice. Beatrice is asking how to unshy ourselves as artists in order to market our art. Unshy. Please, camera, note that. How to unshy. And then Amina says her microphone is not working, so she'll text. She wants tips on executing brand ideas with budget constraints.
Okay, those are some good questions.
Those are, yeah. And then
wow, I can see.
So Amina wants tips on executing brand campaigns while facing budget constraints.
Okay, I take it that what does it what it takes to get a brand? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, maybe we can start there so that we have this conversation. I would have really loved this conversation to be a dialogue, so that way I don't feel like a radio presenter. But yeah, okay, great. So Elaine, I hear you. There might have been a problem. Great. Okay, I'm finding I've made tons and tons of presentations over the years. So I'm going to find a presentation that I can show you a few slides later on as we get into our conversation. Okay, there's someone here in film. I like that. Okay.
So, Tamara, the other questions in there that maybe you can note is how do I market and brand a non-profit organization that only gets income through donations from friends and family?
Great, that's
beautiful. The other question is what it takes to get a brand. Yes, they're all in the chat.
Okay, I'm seeing them. Okay, I've seen them. That was by Ulokuchunyu Ubea.
Yes.
Right. Elokuchunyu is from Nigeria or Ghana?
No, she's from West Nile.
From West Nile?
Yes.
Wow. Those are the guys who say shash instead of church.
So you need to clarify that.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a question from Daniel. And Daniel is asking, how do you balance staying true to your artistic vision while responding to market demands and trends?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I think we have some traction and a starting point here.
Yeah.
Good. So, thank you very much, guys. Your questions have given me some fuel to go on. Number one is the first question that came in was about unshying ourselves as artists in order to market our art. So there is something called, and then someone asked another question, which is almost like, what does it take to get a brand? Now, I'll start from the beginning. A brand is not what we have known it to be. A brand is everything but a logo, everything but colors and font sizes and things. The brand primarily is, in a nutshell, the authentic self of an entity. What do I mean, the authentic self of an entity? This is who you are when you're unscripted. That is what the brand is. Who you are when you are unscripted. So I'll give you an example of being unscripted. Being unscripted is when you touch a live cable of electricity. The sound that comes out of you is more like unscripted worship. Now you realize that there are some people who pretend to be prim and proper, and when an incident like that happens and they touch a live electric wire, the words that come out of their mouth can surprise you. They would say some interesting verbiage that you wouldn't expect to come out of their mouth. But it's because they have been putting on a facade, and inside their heart is someone else. The true brand was brought out when they were forced by a circumstance to expose who they are. So the brand is who you are when you are unscripted. It's your authentic self. The Bible, which is a book that I refer to a lot, says that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. But it also says that out of the abundance of the heart speaks the mouth. So those are the things that make a brand. So how do you get a brand? How do you get a brand? How you get a brand is you put in something in order for you to get out. You see, all the brands that we admire, and now I'm using business entities. Just a second, I would like to turn off something here which is a bit distracting. Like I was saying, all the entities that we admire that have successfully built something that we all look up to have put in the work. They have put in something on a daily or something on a weekly, but regularly have put in something in order for them to feel their authentic self with that thing that they would want to come out when you call them on any day. So how do you get to building a brand? It is to put in whatever you want to see daily. So if you are a musician, you must be doing those vocal drills daily, because you can sing a certain way in your head, but when you're put before an audience, then the real you comes out. We get to experience the brand that you have been working on for us. As someone said, champions are not made in the ring, they are simply recognized there. Brands don't come to the forefront because they have amazing marketing, but it's because of the sum total of everything that they stand for. Many organizations think that branding is an activity. It is integrated. It starts internal. You start with the people in the business. How do they think? How do they act? What is it that they do? Or for that matter, if you are an artist, if you are a solo artist, then you really, really have to look out for your brand. If you are an artist that is working in, like it's a collaboration, it means that what one person does has a very big influence on what ultimately your brand becomes. So how do you get a brand? You put in a lot of the good stuff that you want your brand to stand for. How do you unsure yourself? to market yourself. I think when you have put in the work, you no longer care who sees what you do. You're happy to do it in the dark. When they call you to do it in the open, it then just flows out of you naturally. So that is, in a nutshell, how you get to a brand and how you can unshine yourself. And yeah, so those are the two questions I would like to answer. For starters, I want to confirm that we are still together. Give me a sign.
Yes, Kamara, still here.
Okay. Right. So in the meantime, I'm trying to whip up this presentation called Building a Brand Called You. I hope I find it. Okay, but I can still continue and take some of those questions, and then we'll take it on from. I definitely will find it somehow. So, I mean, like I said again, I really want to speak to what it is that I don't want you to go like, they called this guy here. All he did was speak so much, but there wasn't anything that I could take away with, because at the end of the day, our conversation must leave you better than you came. So that's why I insist on trying to understand exactly and contextualize what it is that you want out of the conversation. So let me just deal with something that you talked about, how to balance staying true to your artistic vision while responding to market demands and trends. I think, and Daniel, that is a very good question. It's the question for the ages. Just the other day, I was having a conversation with friends, and I was telling them that there's a generation that had to do what they had to do so that the generation after them could do what they wanted to do. So sadly, those generations keep reoccurring, that sometimes you find yourself as the generation that had to do what you had to do. You had to study sciences even when you were not passionate about sciences, because there was no demand for the arts that you could really thrive in. So there was a generation that did that. They had to do what they had to do in order for the generation after to do what they want to do. Now I see parents who have built a bit of runway for their children, that their children can outrightly start by specializing and going into fields that they are really passionate about, as opposed to trying to be generalists. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so that's the bottom line. So how do you stay to your true to your artistic self? I honestly believe that the reason why you are bending to market demands is because you want to make a buck, is because there is someone who is telling you what they want to buy, as opposed to what you are producing. And that is always, there's a bit of a divide there. One of the things that I have learned over the years is the difference between art and design. Design responds to the client, because the client says, I would like you to design for me a flyer. Yes, you might use your artistic abilities to design a flyer, but as artists, you're meant to create something from the inside of you, and then the market responds to what you have to do. So yes, trends come and trends go, but I think as an artist, I would say, because people buy what inspired you. Like there's a time I walked into one of the art galleries where Beth used to manage, and there was this amazing painting. I don't want to call it a painting. I would like to call it an installation. It was a white canvas, and this guy had just cut out the center of the white canvas. He had cut out a small piece of the center of the white canvas. And this art piece, he had called it FGM, female genital mutilation. Now, when I saw the price tag, which I will not tell you on this call, it was not free. It cost some bit of money. But it stuck with me because the thought process of putting that together could, it's like the artist kind of expressed themselves. I think it just had lines that represented the legs of the person. You could see that this is a woman whose legs had been spread, and where her privates would be was the part that was cut out on the art piece. Now, I don't know who sets those trends and who sets those market demands, but I think I was able to connect with the artist, and I still remember that art piece out of the very many that I saw because of the vision that the artist had to convey the message that they were putting across. So as an artist, I think when you set yourself on fire, the world will come to watch you. But if you start chasing the world to try and sell them your fire, then the world is going to tell you where the fire is burning brightest. And I speak to you as I speak to myself, because sometimes I feel like I haven't set myself on fire enough for the world to come and watch me burn. So as an artist, what I can say is set yourself on fire and the world will come and watch you burn, because you have the ability to. The stuff that is on the inside of you, no one has seen, no one can comprehend, no one can say it's against the trends. You are the trendsetter. You start by believing it and then you walk it. I don't know if that question's been dealt with, and if it's, yeah. And I think that in terms of branding is what makes you an authentic brand, because you are not, I'll tell you a story about Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola tried as much as possible to create a drink that was loved as much as Pepsi. This is on YouTube. You can find this story there, that Pepsi, out of the testing that was done by most of the drinkers in America, they voted Pepsi to taste better than Coca-Cola. But Coca-Cola tried to change its formula, and they came up with what they called Coke or something, and then they tried to market it, and it just didn't catch on. But later on, someone wrote to the CEO and said, "Listen, you've changed the brand. You're no longer the brand that we saw while we were growing up." So they went back to their true self. They are not the best tasting, but their vision is to be at every celebration. So people remembered Coca-Cola for the celebrations that it was at with them, and not for the taste. That's when they came up with the Coke Classic, saying that we are going back to the classic Coke. And if you realize in all their advertising, in how they portray the brand, they're telling you to open happiness, they're telling you to share a Coke. It's about moments in life as opposed to the drink. So Coke itself does not try to beat the competition on the quality of drink, but it beats the competition on being there when you are in times of celebration. So that is, again, part of, not responding to market trends and demands, but staying true to your authentic self, and then you can craft and build an amazing brand. Let me see if I can answer another question. What is the role of email market? What role does email marketing play in promoting my film? Okay. So film is one of the greatest mediums, and I think for us in branding and advertising, it's who is a better storyteller. The people who are winning currently are people who have the ability to tell their stories better. It's not the people who have the most amazing budgets, or who are in as many platforms as possible, but it's the people who have the ability to tell their story well, in a way that captivates, in a way that resonates, and it grows legs thereon and goes into the hands of the people that it needs to. So that is primarily what you need to do, that even as you promote your film, I think if you find a small niche of people. Yes, hello. Was there a question or something? Okay, sorry, I'll continue. So in promoting your film, I think what you need to do is to find the audience that you created the film for, because I believe that everyone who does a film has a particular person that they want to communicate to. They have a storyline that is appealing to a specific kind of person. So when you go to that person and find out from that small focus group what boxes it ticks, then they will do the emailing for you in promoting it, because when people find something nice, it's just human nature and inherent for them to share. So as you promote your film, when you find yourself pushing too hard, it means there aren't very many pull factors, and some of them are being pushing it to the wrong audiences. So email marketing is great, but it's even greater when you're pushing to the right kind of people in the email in your email database, if I may put it that way. Wow. Okay. I'm going to hope that after we've used maybe the first 50 minutes, I open the floor up a bit again as I try to look for this 3-slide presentation that maybe would tickle a few more questions. There is a question again that came in from I think the one of maintaining trends I have kind of hinted on. Tips on measuring, documenting, and pivoting, responding to market responses. Okay, tips. Okay, I'll definitely look into that. Oh, by the way, I need to also say that I'm also here to learn from you guys, and I would really want you to do justice by unmuting at some point. So that we have a rich, healthy conversation. Someone talked about how do I brand a nonprofit organization that only gets income through donations from friends and family. All I can say is that money is a reward for solving problems. How big is the problem that the nonprofit is solving? How big is the problem? How real is the problem? Now, when that problem is big and real, then you can be sure you'll have funding from all over the place. If the vision is really big and it kind of it's something that can bring change to lots of people, then you'll definitely find the market. I think by the time it's only coming, the donations are coming from your family and friends, it means that these people are, this is more of a pity, I don't want to call it they're giving you sympathy donations, yet you can make the vision and the whole thing bigger, and then attract people who would like to partner with you in your vision. I think it's sometimes marketing is overrated, if I may put it that way, because good things, everyone is looking for something good. At whatever pricing point if you have a good thing, it will sell. I don't think the producers and manufacturers of Lamborghinis and Ferraris are really, really sad that they are not marketing to Ugandans. I don't think they are sad that they don't have a full page spread in the New Vision at least once a week or once a month. I don't think they are sad. I think they know where their market is and they speak to them directly. And I think the company has been here for quite some time and they sell some premiumly priced vehicles. And I would like to assume that they hit their targets because they are still in active production. So marketing the brand, I think the brand needs to do the marketing. So when the ethos or the whole internal thing is great, then it markets you. But if you have to market it, it's like, branding, again, they use this analogy. It's like if a guy comes to a girl and keeps telling the girl how good he is, then that is called sales. You're sounding salesy, like, why should I buy? I'm good, why should you? But if someone else goes to the girl and tells her, then that is marketing. But if the girl has already noticed that the guy is good and is telling other people about the guy who is interested in her, then that is branding. If she's professing to have a crush on the guy, so he's done everything without even talking to her directly, that just attracts the market. So brands, why they are big brands, is that these brands have some psychology that they do in how they deliver their product that gets their target audiences to demand them and ask for them by their brand name. They don't overly market. I can tell you for a fact that in September, there's going to be a product released by Apple, and I don't know whether it's going to be an upgrade of the iPhone or another gadget that they are working on right now, but they have built a brand with trust, with excellence, and people are waiting to see what next. I think that's where you need to go, where people are waiting to see what next. So allow me, guys, it's 50 minutes into our conversation. I would like to hear what you're hearing and maybe what I'm not saying, and then we can, take it on from here. Over to you, thanks.
Hello, Kamara.
Hello.
Yes, I would like to ask, as a writer or as an author, have you been able to market your book differently from any other writer in Uganda where people, don't read?
Wow, that's a good question. Okay. So there's a bit of novelty about writing in Uganda. We are seeing many more Ugandan authors put out content. In terms of marketing my book, yes, the first book I sold close to 800 copies. I haven't hit the 1,000 mark yet. The second book has not done as well. We've only sold about 400 copies of a book. But in terms of the marketing, I think people buy people. I have discovered that most of the people who have bought my book, even when I go back to have conversations with them, I realize that they bought the book, but they didn't read the book, but they bought the book. And that gave me a question: why is it that people buy books and don't read books? And sometimes it's because the content we put out there is so personal. It has a lot of anecdotes that are more connecting to local audiences, and that's why people buy. Well, it's like how your friends and family finance you. So it's like your friends and family buy the book because they want to have a book by their own on their shelf. Now, how have I marketed it? Well, for me, it was really having a big launch for both of the books. So you have a launch, people expect to have a snack and a drink, and on that launch, with a lot of pre-launch vibe and stuff like that, people pick up the books. Thereafter, really, it hasn't been easy. And then also putting it in the bookstores. Every so often, you get called by a restock and they're asking you to take maybe about 20, 30 more copies and pick a check. So things like that. So yeah, that's an interesting question. But I know people who've really sold many books, and it's been largely because of the content. So I think, again, it's let the content market itself. Otherwise, trying to sell, can be a bit hard. Thanks, that's a good question. I'll take another question if there is. Hello, people. Guys, I need proof of life. I feel like
Hello,
I've been
hello.
speaking. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Great information. Not a question, I'd maybe add to what you said last. Hi, Ram here. Is a book in itself could start a whole movement of people who maybe want to explore further what the story is about or what it means. Some people have gone ahead to commercialize it by building communities of people who look forward to what else is of value. Like, for example, somebody writes a book on financial literacy or stories around how to start a successful agriculture business, and they end up being a community of people who are attached to the author for guidance into the future. But I truly agree, when you keep servicing that community is one way of actually promoting and selling it, because at the end of the day, you say, yeah, I also wrote a book about that. If you want to learn more about it, you can just click on the link in my bio. And a lot of people said it like that. They are not really pushing the book. If you buy it, it's for you. But my satisfaction is not in how many copies I've sold, although it's a milestone, but how many people have actually connected with the story within the book that I wrote, the movie I've created and stuff like that. Because that's truly what makes it catch fire. Don't focus on 1 million people who are out there that you can potentially get, but these 5 people that you have in your docket right now, how much are you doing with them as a community of your own? That's really key in terms of selling, because those 12 disciples can tell the story to the whole world. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's so true. That's so true. I think you have said it really well. I would like to ask the other people to, feel free to chip in here, because I feel like I'm shooting in different directions, but I would like I'd like to have a two-way conversation. Is there anything that you have found of value so far, or should we invest another 40 minutes or so around the same mountain? Let me get some feedback.
Can you guys hear me?
Sure, you can
Yes,
hear you,
go ahead.
Amina.
Oh, you can hear me? Oh, okay. I thought my mic didn't work. Maybe I just want to add emphasis on what Ram just said, maybe. Let's say if you have the 5 people that you know have connected with your work, what's the balance between continuing to keep those the ones that you've already sold to, who are already fans of yours, and the ones who are not yet there, or who you need to put more emphasis in? Like, what's the proper balance? Like, do you do more towards the few that have already signed on, or do you put them aside and chase new mountains, so to speak?
I'll let our host take on the question as well, because it's the subject matter he's covering. But I'll also add one thing to it. The already acquired audience you have is your premium audience. The one that you've not acquired is already getting free service with any form of interaction. We say in marketing, any form of interaction is marketing, really. So if you are on your social media and already providing value to an already existing audience, there are a couple of people who will also say, I also want to join, because people want things that are exclusive. And you've seen creators say, to enjoy this part of pack or value pack, you need to be a subscribed user of our platform, or you need to be in part of our private community. There's so much value that creators can give to others in one-on-one communities or group trainings once a week and stuff like that. I've found a platform called School, SKOOL, to be really great at providing a paid and a free community that you can manage and then also provide value too at a really reasonable and manageable space. I'm not doing an ad for them, but I'm saying also sometimes finding the right platform for you to do that matters. Let's say you're doing, you're getting your traffic from TikTok, doing behind the scenes of what you do, and other people who are interested maybe in learning one or two things are joining your private community. Then they click on that link and then they find everything there. So that's all I'm going to say, and I take the mic back. Thank you.
Yeah, I like everything that I'm hearing. Maybe, I mean, I just come back again with that question. I feel like Ram has had a very good input, but just come back with that question and maybe I'll try to listen out to the nuances that I could have missed. What was your question again?
I think it was just to do with finding a balance between let's say adding your putting emphasis on the market that you've already sold to, people who are already supporters of your work. Do you finding a balance in your marketing your marketing activities? I mean, because sometimes you know you're doing certain things and you know this is pleasing these people that I already fans of mine, but then there are other things that you can also do to attract other people who are not yet aware of your brand or who are aware of it but haven't really shown signs of being full-blown supporters yet. So what's the balance between just like how can I frame it, between chasing the new guns and maintaining the old ones?
Okay, like I said again, I don't have all the answers, but this is what I know, that sometimes there is more value in going after the 20 who give you the 80, as opposed to try and chase the 80 who sometimes are giving you the 20. So I think if the 20 are giving you their attention, they understand you, they are the people who are giving you feedback, I think I would really, really see how to mine and go deep with the 20 before I try and get the 80 who are requiring you to try and change, to try and, somehow deviate from your authentic self. Yeah, especially if it makes financial sense for you to hone in on the 20, then I would say go for it and just milk. I think someone is also talking about something, talking about having a niche product. I think that's more like what we are saying, niche with a 20, and they'll give you most of the value, so you don't have to change. Teresa is saying, if I have a niche product that perhaps isn't showing traction in my local market, what strategies can I put to enter the foreign market, or should I first establish a local market before moving on to international markets? Yes.
Good afternoon to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to chip in on the last question.
Yeah.
Briefly, my name is Kaga Ngobi. I work with a poetry company called Kitara Nation, and we are poetry publishers. That's our niche. And prior to COVID-19, we did a bit of research in the Ugandan local market to ask ourselves the question, why are people not interested in buying Ugandan books? Yeah, because people buy books, but they're not really buying Ugandan books. And to some of the solutions that we came up, what we understood is, what I would like to share briefly is that, one, whatever book product you're going to create has to be relatable. Relatability is what is the message, what is the quality, what is the quality of the product, and what is the messaging in the product. And then the second question is, the second solution is around affordability. We found that so many people had complaints about how as Ugandan authors, we prize our texts vis-a-vis the value that they offer. The third one, which was also important, is accessibility. How accessible are your works to the local market? Are you reaching out to the book communities where people really want to find them? Can the book be delivered to my doorstep? The same way I can get a book from Nigeria delivered to my doorstep. And the last one is, of course, the product has to be a solution to the customer pains. If people are complaining that Ugandan books are not well produced, how, and by that they mean probably they are not well laid out, they are not well designed. How well is your book responding to that? Two particular features that we found out about the behavior patterns of Ugandan readers. One is that people like books with big fonts. And then people also like books with pictures. And people also do not like reading big books. They like buying books that they sort of think they can read in one sitting, in couple sittings. So all these elements go into understanding, at least they went into helping us understand how best we could create a product that people would easily consume and also want to get back to. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, just give me 1 second. I'll be back in 3 minutes. I'm just closing off something this year. Thanks.
Kagai, thank you for that presentation. I know you've been at it for quite some time, so it's good to know that at the moment you're moving with data-informed decisions out of that survey you guys did. Specifically about pricing for creative work, I truly believe needs to sit at the bottom of the creator's value perception. There is a difference between costly and expensive. Many texts go into explaining that. So for me, a book has an intention. Poetry book, maybe the intention is it should turn into a really great poetry book that maybe at some point, like other literatures, has been adopted in curriculums, and now it means much more than just a book on a shelf. It has been adopted in a way a generation learns a certain subject, but that's not the ultimate maybe climax for a poetry book or any other book. But I truly believe the intention of that book should be there is something, there is a baby you want to give birth to, and this baby has a purpose, and that purpose is going to live through of the several other activities that you're going to do to continue to further that message, because it's really about the message and not the product. The product is a packaging of the message, which is the book, but the message within is what you really need to put out. And content creators can do all sorts of different formats of creation of content to really repackage the same message in different formats. Maybe by doing that, it will resonate more with people, or more people will identify with it from a different angle. All sorts of forms. You've seen people go on podcasts. There are many platforms online right now available to you. You just need to search on the internet, scheduling for podcasts and stuff like that, where you can really get an audience that is international, and they'll probably be even more willing, because of their spending culture online. They'll be more willing to buy the book and buy a membership if it exists. So those avenues do exist. Email marketing is a good one, but I'd say email marketing, who is it designed for? I believe that's part of the care you give to your already acquired audience, because this is now, you have an automated process of email marketing that when somebody buys a book, they give them an option to maybe buy an upsell of being part of a session, a one-on-one session, and then when they buy it, you send them a link to join a community and things like that. So to drift back to where I started from, on my friend Kagai's value and vis-a-vis, I totally believe Ugandan literature is valuable. I've seen, I've read excerpts of many books. I've read some from poets, specifically from Kagai's organization. There are many great writers there. They have an actual value, but how is it communicated? Yeah, how is it communicated? There's got to be a whole movement around a specific message that is deeply underlying in that book. But a book in itself should have some sort of guidebooks on how to get the most out of the book and how to make the most use of it. So that is already an audience of people who are looking for hand-holding towards the final destination that you have shared in form of your ideas, your thoughts. Maybe these are aspiring poets, maybe they're aspiring artists, they're aspiring filmmakers, and they know, since you are the expert, you are willing to guide them as a mentor, and they're paying subscription for that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you. There's a hand in the audience. I'll let other people speak. Go ahead, Alicia.
Alicia, your hand is up. I don't know if you want to speak.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. Sorry. My name is Alicia Ngetesange. I'm from Namibia. I'm a full-time visual artist. I do sculpture and printmaking. Also an art activist, and I also own a small pottery business. So I have a problem here for managing and promoting my products, like myself as an artist and my business. As an artist, I'm very well known, and my business is not really well known. And the problem I have is that when people find out that I have a business of pottery, they want me to sign those products when they buy them. And as a fine art artist myself, I don't want to sign them. How do I separate myself from my business as an artist?
Kamara, I hope you've noted that. How does the artist separate themselves from the brand?
Yeah, because I have a business, a pottery business, and it's completely different from myself as a visual artist. In my art, I express myself much, but in my art, in my pottery, sometimes I have people who are working for me, or I do the production, but that is not me, because that is not my expression. My product, my pottery is inspired by our tradition and has nothing to do with me as an artist. But people who are fascinated by my work as a full-time visual artist want me to sign and print my pottery under my visual art career, which is a little bit difficult for me to separate myself from my business without making my customer angry, because they always get a little bit somehow when I say, no, I cannot sign the pottery because that is not me as a visual artist.
Thank you, Alisa. Let's hear what Kamara has to say about that. Any other question?
No, not, thank you.
It's okay, thank you, Alicia. Anybody else with a question? Another question? Kamara?
Yes, sorry. I stepped away for a second. And the second became a bit longer because I was shutting down some equipment that almost didn't shut down. So, sorry.
Did you hear Alicia's question?
Sorry, can I get it again?
Alicia?
Yes.
Please say your question again.
Okay, all right. I said myself, I'm a full-time visual artist. And as an artist, I'm a bit well known in Namibia. And my art is not to be bought by, mostly doesn't get bought by individuals. And people want to have my work. So because I also own a business, pottery business. Now people, they want to get pottery which are sent by me as an artist, while that is not what I do as a visual artist. My art is completely different from pottery. So how do I separate myself from my business without making my customer angry or sad about it?
Right, that is a very interesting question. What I hear is that you'd like to separate you, the person, from the art, the form of art that you do. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. The only way that that is possible, whether it is in the arts or it is in products or services, is if you can create a system that is outside of you. So, for example, here in Uganda, we have a gentleman who's invested many years in cultural dances. And what he's done is he's created a system of cultural dancers where he sometimes does narration, or he could hire someone to do narration, but the product of the cultural dances is being done by other people where he is not involved. So it's a system. They know the routines, they know the moves, they know the things like that. But the other thing with art is it's so intuitive that when you put your hands off of it, then it ceases to be art, and now it is some form of craft that can be machine made or something like that, and that's what takes away from the art. So it's an interesting challenge. I can't say I have the answers, but if you can create a system where you say, for example, you say you do pottery, maybe find some form of, can we call it like function, like a special function or a story around a pot that you can sell, and then maybe find a proprietary kind of way of doing it that you can patent or something like that. Other than that, the problem with the arts is that the art and the individual are so one that to decouple them, you lose the art.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Can I say something there?
Yeah, sure.
I do understand, but the problem here is that I have my art, a fun art artist.
Right.
And my pottery is a different business which is registered, and it has it.
Sorry, are you still there? Sorry, I think we lost her. Sorry, we lost her. Does anyone, as we wait, does anyone have a question that they would like to ask? Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Okay. Did you get what I said, or should I repeat
No,
myself?
there was silence. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, okay. I'm saying I do understand what you are saying, but still here there's a problem that is not being solved, because I'm saying as an artist, I do art that fascinates people, and because they can't afford it, they want to drive me to my business to do pottery, because they also love the pottery from my business, so I can have my own signature there, and that is what I don't want.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yes. Let me rephrase the question. So you do a form of art that is expensive, but because people can't buy it, they want to buy the cheaper art that is done by you.
Yes, but that is I'm just doing a production process in my business.
Right.
But they are saying I should just do those pottery and bring them to art. Have my signature there. And I don't want, because that is a different business on its own. This is me as an artist.
Okay. Well, I think there's two products that you have. There's one that the customers want,
Yes.
And if you can give them what they want and they pay you for it, I think that's a different business. I don't see a contradiction there. I don't see a contradiction. Is it too expensive for you to do?
It's not too expensive for me to do, but I'm known for my art, and my business is known for pottery. So that's what I don't want to mix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you are fascinated by my art and you can't buy it, of course you can buy my pottery from my business, but don't expect me to sign it.
Ah, okay. So people are asking you to sign the pottery and they take it as the art.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Yeah, well, from what I hear, then they should do the product as it is. Yeah, like you rightly said, they take the product in the form you sell it, not in the form they want it. Yeah.
I think I will remain with this problem forever, and it's driving me crazy because I don't know what to do.
No, it will. Okay, I don't know. Maybe we'll think on it and then come back to you soon. Let's think on it. If there's someone on the group, maybe Ram or Theresa, I see their hands up, who can lend some thought to this, I'm happy to listen.
All right.
Okay, Theresa, do you want to try?
Yes, thank you, everyone. Hi, Alicia, you have a very interesting problem. I think for me, what I'd do is I'd perhaps try and communicate as best as possible to my customers and potential customers on a public platform the reasons to why you would want to keep the businesses separate. So just a simple post that sits permanently on your website to demonstrate your reasons. And I think that should be sufficient. And the one thing about creatives is that we're very emotional or emotive about our own works and what should and what shouldn't be done with our art. I think the idea here also could be that you may want to start detaching. I know it might sound a bit vicious, but there's a point where creatives need to start detaching from their work. And just be very clear in your communication how you'd like the work to be experienced. But once the client has purchased it, then I guess it's for you to let go on whatever else exists beyond that. So I had a question. I hope I've actually been able to help. I know it's a very tough question, so I was just trying to help and see if I was to put myself in your case, what I would do. I'd really sort of just communicate and detach. I hope I've answered your question. If not, helped. Alicia?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. My question was to you, Ariho Kamara. I hope I've said that correctly. And first, thank you for a very enlightening conversation. My question to you is, one of the things about marketing and branding is that it can be extremely exhausting. I mean, considering the number of media that exists that one needs to market their wares on. So take case in point, there's of course traditional media, which is print, that's posters, TV, radio. Then there's now this sort of mammoth called digital marketing. Which includes the plethora of platforms that one would be on, from TikTok to your Snapchat to your YouTube, Meta and so on. My question to you is, how does one manage the marketing of one's brand and also spend enough time, just working on the art and the crafting? Is there a balancing or is there a focus that can be done when it comes to marketing and branding? Because it's becoming very chaotic and very confusing, and ultimately also very disheartening when sometimes you don't see the intent, which is essentially to make a sale happen. Thank you.
Wow, I think when you say it's sometimes it is short of depressing, because this is the industry I've been working in for the last 15 or so years, and I've been at I've been at crossroads when change came into the industry. Like the move from DOS to Windows was a big shift, especially in terms of using computer-aided art. And graphics, if you will. And then we have now the switch from traditional to digital platforms, and like you're saying, there's a plethora of them. Yeah, this is what I can say concerning that. I think the winners in this mammoth of or what do you call it, jungle of platforms. The winners are the people who are building communities and not chasing after communities. I think those are the real winners. I think if you focus on building a community, online, offline, whatever, if you focus on building a community that listens to you, that believes in you, that trusts you, that gives you feedback, that you have really engagement with them, that is quantifiable, that is relatable, that is personal, if you will, that you allow for two-way communication that is vulnerable and authentic, then you will be winning when it comes to these platforms. But I'll tell you that all of these platforms, as you just named them, TikTok, blah, 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 all of them are renditions of one that spills into another. So you find one who says, okay, for us, we are going to be picture based. And then they say, okay, no, now we have to go into film. Now we are movie based. Now it's not only that, now we have to lengthen and make it a longer movie, maybe coming from the 30 seconds to now having maybe now we have to go live. So there's a lot of change that is happening. But you see, all that change they're just iterations of the foundational issue, which is community. All these changes are meant to try and draw in communities. So as a person who has a brand, what you're looking to do is to build a community. And how you build it, where you build it, whether it's offline, whether it's online, when you build a community that is genuinely interested, rather than simply interesting, then you will win because you know that you have 30 genuine people that every time you put out a product, they'll be able to buy, as opposed to having 3,000 people, but you're not sure if there's anyone that will buy. So for me, all I can say is if Twitter is your cup of tea, go for it. If Facebook is your cup of tea, go for it. But at the end of the day, build authentic community, build relatable community, whether it's online or offline. The community that you have offline can find you online, and vice versa. The online community, is great because you can have people across borders and stuff like that. So build community is all I can say. I don't know if that answers your question, but if you want to cut the fatigue and chasing after all these things, is build a community. So if you say, hey guys, we've moved to X, like Trump had a community and said, I've built my own social media networking platform. It's called Truth Social. Yeah, there is a community that moved there in the millions. Some just to see what's happening, others to support their own. So build communities. It doesn't matter which other platform you have. If you have a community, you're winning. Are we there?
Yes.
Yes, Kamara, yes. Thank you.
Okay. I hope
Teresa, did that respond to you clearly?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ram, your hand is up. Alicia, I don't know if that's the first hand or the second hand. I'm going to move to Ram while we figure out whether Alicia has another question. Ram?
Yes, thank you. Mine was going to Alicia's question. Yeah, it's considering the dilemma she's in now, it's self-created. Sometimes when you don't separate your brands, they're going to be easily confused with each other. That's why you see all these global brands. You'd have a company like Unilever with thousands of brands, but none of them is confused with the other in terms of brand identity and what it stands for. None of each can put its tag on the other. As a visual artist, your identity is distinct, it's different, it's your tag. And if you produce products, whether they're mass products or they're limited edition products, whichever brand you choose to use, there is no obligation to use your personal brand. So in that perspective, maybe when you look at brand structuring, that's when we talk of, like, let's say brand of houses, or rather a house of brands. So you'd have like 3 or 4 distinctive different brands. This is in pottery, this is in let's say interior design experiences and stuff like that. So I just wanted to highlight that it's still okay for you to still function those 2 separate identity as a visual artist and somebody who also own a successful business that sells products in pottery. So separate them from the onset. Don't do cross posting or both logos appearing on each other's brand for that type of separation to build, so that you're able to grow it differently. But the other styles of, let's say, structuring a brand, like, for example, the best I could give is, let's say, Virgin Group of Companies, Richard Branson. You'd see Virgin this, Virgin that, Virgin this, Virgin that. So all those things, even if it's, let's say, Virgin Finance and Virgin Airlines, they're separate entities, although they're all similar under the same brand identity. So I guess the outlet or how they're being sold or where your community is interacting with this art maybe in itself need to be separated for you to get that peace of mind. Yeah, I agree they're totally different brands and they should be sold differently. And then a little bit, not to take too much time on the last question, social media in itself is a channel. It's not the thing in itself. So content comes already defined to get onto that platform. So you already know it's a borrowed medium. It's not your medium. It can go away. You can be banned and whatever, everything can happen. So strive as a creator to have owned media, your own web URL that you control, you put your content, you manage your archives and stuff like that, and let it be the final destination for traffic. These channels are meant to drive traffic. Maybe 2 or 3 more people are discovering you as an artist every day, and they need to know more about what you do, what you sell. I'd like to buy 1 or 2 things, or maybe just be a part of your community. So that's how you should treat social media, as spaces that bring a little bit more visibility.
Awesome. Thank you, Ram. Alicia, your hand is still up.
It's the old one, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Ram, your hand is still up.
No, I'm taking it off. I'm still figuring it out.
Okay, thank you. Kamara, back to you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, then no more hands up. Kamara?
Just a second.
Kamara, okay.
Sorry. You know, we live in an era where there is a lot of stuff jumping at you, and so it's been one of those things. But I would like to say, because we've had 1.5 hours of conversation.
Yes.
I have a tool that I'm going to share with Liz today or tomorrow, which can help you try and see how to funnel your ideas on what you want your brand to taste like. You must have seen this. It's everywhere. It's how do you want to be related to as a brand, whether it's as an individual or as a business or as an artist. So maybe speaking to people who do film, you know, Quentin Tarantino. He's got his own brand of film, and everybody knows if it's a Quentin film, it has to have blood, you know. So that's his and everyone knows if it's a Tyler Perry movie, it's about Black communities and you know what's been. So everyone speaks from some point there. So maybe it's to find that, and I get the sense that it will also help Teresa maybe to kind of understand how she wants to communicate for either brand, so that she does not get confused and the two kind of clash and create unnecessary noise where people are asking for that or the other. And I'm glad that Ram gave the example of Unilever. So Unilever has a plethora of products, but they are all tagged in two batches. There is stuff for home care, there is stuff for personal care, there is stuff, like that. And then they go into home care and they also stratify it to the point that they know what is extremely low end and what is high end, and that informs how they communicate those different brands. I think we can borrow from that as artists, as creatives, and understand exactly how our brands communicate. Um, but this is maybe what I would call my parting shot to you, that the future of branding is personal. The future of branding is not something that you're going to institutionalize. So at the end of the day, as even institutions are finding individuals right here in Uganda, and I don't know how it is all over Africa, but you find that the institutions that have the head of the institution very engaged and communicating directly to stakeholders, those institutions kind of have a certain taste of reputation to them. That is the biggest difference between the Biden presidency and the Trump presidency. The Biden presidency was very institutionalized, and that's why it's very difficult to remember what Biden did over the last 4 years, if you ask me from a personal perspective. But I can tell you what executive orders that Trump has signed just in the last a couple of weeks he's been president. So the future of branding is so personal that as creatives, as artists, as poets, you need to be working on your personal brand, because to a great extent your art is going to borrow from that. To a great extent your business is going to borrow from that. So what are you doing for your personal brand? Yes, I understand there's the business brand that you're trying to build systems for, but people buy people. And people buy from people they know, people they like, and people they trust. So you need to be known, first of all, which means that you need to have a presence out there, like Ram said, that you control. You need to have a presence out there. Then people need to like you, what means that what you're saying resonates to them. If they think of a topic that they can call you to talk about, you can talk about comfortably, without having to do research or stuff like that. So, and then they like you. You're a likable person. I'm very sorry I didn't put on my video today because I am in between. I'm transitioning from one space to another. So my backgrounds are not extremely wonderful. So that's why. But there's the need to personally connect, to personally care. Someone said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you need to be a caring brand. And I think with that, the sky is the limit. Beth, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Is it me or Beth is gone off?
Here I was speaking to myself, just muted. Yeah, the unmute button had evaded me as well. Kamara, thank you so much. And a round of applause for Kamara, claps and shining emojis and heart emojis to you. Kamara, thank you so much for sharing your smarts with us. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom. In other spaces, I know you are highly paid for this information. So I'm super grateful to you that you have shared of your wisdom and experience with the amazing creatives that are on the call today. Everybody who logged on, thank you so much. I will share the tool that Kamara will share later in the WhatsApp group. And just to give you a heads up, our next conversation is on Friday. On Friday, we're talking about money, finances, and creatives. So I hope that will be a good one for you all to look forward to. Thank you so much for today, and have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. For our friends, yeah, it's now afternoon for everybody who's logged on, even those who logged on when it was still morning in their time zone. Thank you so much, everybody. Kamara, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Sad I didn't get to put faces to names. Maybe I will someday. And when I'm in your area code, I like to keep numbers because when I travel, I have this joke with my family that one of my greatest desires is to have a number of someone in any country, that when I land in any country, there's a person I can call and connect with. So yeah, so I look forward to meeting you all and getting to connect. You never know, I could be in your area code at some point and we could have a cup of tea. So yeah.
Awesome. Lagen, you're asking how to join the Kuonyesha community. Please follow our social media page and inbox me. I'll be happy to give you more details. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.